If you're struggling, man, reach out for help, okay?
You know, this is Owen. You see Owen today. I want you guys to see what Owen looked like during his active addiction. You'll see it right here on screen. You see these are some mugshots, some different pictures of him during his active addiction. You can see the change. And Owen, I'll ask you right now, how much weight have you gained since you got clean this time?
I don't know what my lowest weight was out there because I didn't have no scales to weigh myself on.
What, you didn't have no scales under the bridge, bro?
No. Yeah, so, yeah, I slept on those canal banks and in tents and under bridges. That was my sleeping arrangements for the last, 7 years straight, 10 years total. And I was 152 pounds when I got to detox here in California, and I'm now 214 pounds.
So you've gained like what? I'm horrible at math, like 60 or 70 pounds.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy. Like the recovery, the before and after stuff is just so incredible to me. It literally shows like people having life like breathed back into them. Like you look at you right now, you would never think you were an addict. You look like a normal person, like a dude that likes to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Just like me. You'd never imagine that you looked like this. Under some very interesting circumstances. For those that don't know, my job is to help people get into treatment, and from time to time I get scholarships where I can help get people into treatment. I met Owen when previously, I think it was a week or two before I had met him, I had a lot of people leave treatment that I had scholarshiped into treatment, and I was so disappointed because these scholarships are literally like going to treatment completely for free instead of having to pay like $30,000 to go to treatment. And I was really disappointed that some of these individuals left. So what I did was I prayed. And I prayed to God that He would send somebody to me that I should help get into treatment. And what God told me to do was that for every person that I saw out on the street, begging, homeless, whatever it may be at each intersection, just to give them a card and a couple bucks, right? And to talk to them. And the first person that reached out to me, I was supposed to scholarship. Real quick, guys, please do me a favor. Take a second to like this video, comment your favorite thing about recovery or your favorite thing about the video, and most importantly, share this video. If you do so, you'll be entered for a chance to win a recovery t-shirt, and not only that, you can help other people find rehab and recovery resources. Thanks to you guys sharing these videos and interacting with them, we've been able to help over 1,000 different people to get into treatment in just the last month alone. Now, back to the video.
I was in the hospital. I had previously shot some Molly. It was the 4th of July, and I had shot some Molly and heroin or fentanyl mix and into my hand, and I got an abscess, and then I was in the hospital, and I had surgery done on my hand, and they had me on Dilaudid and morphine, and it wasn't strong enough to keep me in the hospital, and I ended up leaving AMA. And they were worried about my hand getting septic, and I didn't care. I just left, and when I left, I went to a corner that I normally don't go at. I normally don't go to that corner and panhandle at that time. But I needed bus fare to get back to my spot over on North Lake Boulevard, and so I was standing there, and I had made a few dollars, and Richie pulled up on me, and I almost walked past his car, past his window, and he kind of stopped me, and I kind of backed up a little bit and talked to him, and he gave me just a couple dollars, and he handed me a card, and I don't remember exactly what you said, but I remember something to like, hey, when you're ready, just call me. And so that's what I did. And a couple weeks went by, and I had been rained on a lot, and I was trying to keep my phone dry, and that card come out with my phone, and I called you, and then you were like, he's like, I'll get you a scholarship and to treatment when you're ready. I said, I'm ready now. And you said, well, I don't have a bed open right now, but when it opens, I'll let you know. Or you said, just continue to call me. And I said, okay. And I called you every day, I remember, for at least a week or so, and finally there was a bed that opened up at Indiana Center for Recovery, and I was able to get in treatment.
Yeah. No, I remember that too, because I told him, I said, just keep calling me every day. Show me that you're willing. Show me that you really want this. And he did. He called me every single day. And one story that really sticks out to me that I remember was that, the day that I called him, I said, hey, bro, a bet opened up. Let's get you going. I'm going to send a driver. He's going to be there in half an hour. Owen tells me he had just copped like a couple grams of dope or something.
Yeah.
He said he did his last shot, and then he gave the rest of it away, right?
Yeah, I gave the, I bought like 7 caps, and you told me, the van was on its way, and I did, 3 or 4 of them, and then I had like a couple left, and I gave them to a couple that were on the streets with me, and I gave them those caps, and they were pretty happy, and they were just, wished me the best of luck, and I hugged them, and I got in the van, and and I went to detox in West Palm, and then was waiting on after I got a detox in West Palm, I flew out to Indiana.
Yep. I remember that, man, and my recollection of what happened when I first met Owen was that I pulled up to him, handed him the card, a couple bucks, and he looks down at the card. He says, "Oh, what do you do?" I said, I help get people into rehab. And he says, "Dude, I've been thinking about going to detox for weeks," or something like that. And it was just like such a God moment. You know what I mean? I remember telling Owen, I said, "Dude, I've been praying about you, and here you are."
Yeah.
And I could tell as soon as I met him, I could see it, that this was somebody that had a lot of potential. They could do a lot of really amazing things if he just had the chance.
Yeah.
So we sent him up with Indiana Center for Recovery. And, unfortunately, the first time that he went, he was doing really well. And the one thing that I remember about Owen the most is that everybody that met him absolutely loved Owen because he was grateful for this opportunity, right?
Very grateful.
A lot of times I get people into treatment. They're younger kids. They might not want to go, and they're not very grateful for the opportunity. Owen was the opposite. He was a breath of fresh air for everybody, from the nurses to the therapists, seeing somebody that truly wanted it, and they really wanted to help him. Unfortunately, Owen left treatment after, like a week or two.
I was in there for about a week or two, and I still had the stuff going on with my hand. I just had surgery on it, and I was just really physically sick due to coming off of benzos, and then fentanyl, and I couldn't get my mind right. I couldn't. I finally did. Not that time. For that first week, I couldn't get my mind right. I didn't think I was going to come out of it, and I think that's what kept me out there for all them years. I never saw myself getting through the physical part of this disease, and to have that, physical dependence on benzos and fentanyl is absolutely, tormenting.
The most brutal withdrawal you can go through.
Yeah.
Benzo withdrawal can actually kill you. Heroin withdrawal is just a terrible thing to go through mentally and physically. You feel like you're dying. Like, imagine the worst flu of your entire life and then multiply that by about 20. And then you add benzo withdrawal on top of it, which literally, benzos are an anti-anxiety medication. Sure, your mind is just going crazy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, this is why I decided to give Owen a second chance. Was the reason he left was he had that huge abscess on his hand, right? So he's going through all these terrible withdrawal symptoms while his hand's like the size of a freaking, I don't know, like a mango or something, dude. His hand was huge. It looked awful. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life.
Yeah.
So we ended up leaving treatment, and I think we didn't talk for like a month or two, right?
Yeah.
We didn't talk much. I reached out every once in a while. Hadn't heard from you for a month or two. And for one day, I was praying again, and I just felt like I need to check on Owen. So I just sent him a simple text. I said, hey, man, text me when you're ready, and tell me what happened after that.
Okay, so the day I was in the Indiana Center for Recovery for like a week, my hand was in bad shape, and I was physically sick, and I couldn't. My mind was, that's the thing about this thing. It's a battle in your mind, especially when you're detoxing. You're talking yourself out of the miracle that's being given to you, and I left. Before I left, I was told to call Richie and let him know what was going on because he was scholarshiping me into Indiana Center for Recovery. And so I talked to him, and I'd let him know. I said, bro, listen, it's not even worth talking about because I'm already gone. And I remember you saying, bro, just, don't leave, man. And I was just like, bro, I'm already gone. And I appreciate it. I'm grateful for the scholarship, but this isn't for me. This is not for me. This is not, because I had accepted the fact that I was going to die out there, and I was letting that mentality affect my getting better, and I would make any excuse in the world to leave at that point. And I did, and I went to my buddy's house. He picked me up in Indiana, and we went back to Kentucky. And I had used, pretty heavy, and I ended up overdosing twice there. That was in 2018, right before the new year. Yeah, and right, it was about October, November last year, and the day I woke up in the hospital, they had Narcan me, and I come back, and I was so angry, bro. I was just so angry because they put me straight into withdrawal with the Narcan, and I looked at my phone, and I seen a text from you, and I hadn't even heard from you in over a couple months because and it said, call me when you're ready, or are you done yet? That's what it said. It said, are you done yet? And I was just like amazed. That was that God moment. I was amazed. I was like, dude, like that is something else. Like I haven't heard from you in 2 months, and all of a sudden I wake up out of an overdose, and there it is, bro. And I called you, and you're like, and I let you know, and that was I had to let you know the seriousness of the situation. I'd overdosed twice, within a couple weeks, and you were like, you didn't even hesitate. It was no hesitation in your voice. You assured me that help was on the way, bro, and that was awesome. It means a lot to me.
Absolutely, man, and I'm so proud of you of everything that you've accomplished so far. Owen's been clean for a while now, and he actually just started working, helping out at the sober living home that he's at right now. And it's amazing because I really think that Owen is going to help a lot of people one day, and that's exactly why I gave him multiple chances, because God laid it on my heart that I could help change this man's life, but in turn, he's going to help change other people's lives as well. So the other really interesting fact about all this is when I scholarshiped him for the second time, and I asked him if he was ready, he said he was down in like Louisville, right? Louisville, Kentucky? He said he was down in Louisville, Kentucky. Well, for those of you, though, that know my story and what I've done, I was on this show called 60 Days in Narcoland, right? And we were filming, and I was actually living at the time in a place called Shepherdsville, Kentucky, which is about 20 minutes from Louisville. And I actually was in Louisville about every night, hanging out with these different drug dealers to like get information on the show and to show an interesting aspect of the drug cartels and drug addictions. And basically, I was right next to him, but I couldn't tell him this at the time. Because I said, all right, man, I'll call you up in an Uber. I was going to pick him up, but then I was like, I don't want to blow my cover. So I was like, I'll call you an Uber. So I got him an Uber, and we got him into a detox, and he made his way to Indiana Center for Recovery.
Yeah.
So you want to share with people, like, what you learned your second time in treatment and then what ultimately went wrong?
So I went into Indiana Center for Recovery. First of all, let's set the thing straight here. Indiana Center for Recovery is a great program, and they have some really good people that work there. And it wasn't their fault. It was my fault. I was just not ready. But I'll tell you, it wasn't for lack of trying. Mm-hmm. It definitely was not for lack of trying. I went to meetings every day, and I got a sponsor, and I connected with a friend of mine, Gracie, and she's she got me through a lot there, and I did everything I thought I was doing, but I wasn't enough. The thing about drug addicts and alcoholics that are sick like me, meetings are not enough. I took no suggestions when it came to praying, when it came to
working the steps.
Anything that was suggested as far as that went, I couldn't see the 12 steps changing my life, 12 little steps. I was like, do you know me? Thinking I was special or different. And it cost me almost my life, and I went back out. And this time I went out for a total of 6 months, 6 or 7, actually 7 or 8 months. And I was homeless in Indiana for a couple months. And, did some crazy things in Indiana. My good friend Gracie again helped me, and shacked me up in her old apartment, and I was just secluded, shooting thick shots of meth and by myself, and heroin, and ended up going to a homeless place there, and got to talk them into giving me a bus ticket back to West Palm, because that was where I was comfortable. That was where I knew I could make money. I didn't have to do and harm anybody to get money like I was doing in Indiana Center for Indiana. Sorry, yeah, Indiana. So I got back to West Palm, and I overdosed another 4 times when I got to West Palm. This was this year. And the day, what happened was I just didn't have the balls to call you again. I mean, I had really, hit a bad bottom and 4 overdoses. And the thing is I accepted the fact I was going to die out there, and it didn't happen, and it wouldn't happen no matter what. I remember going to the hospitals, and I signed a waiver: do not resuscitate me.
I remember you
And
telling me
and
that.
I fucking meant it. And I meant it. I was pissed off, bro. I was mad at them. I told them I'd sue them. There's no position to sue anybody. But I was mad. I didn't want to be revived. I didn't want to be resuscitated. I did not want to be Narcaned. And something happened. God, had his hands on me, and I defied the odds. And the day I called you, I talked to my family, and I was just like, I got to do something. My mom had sent me $100 to buy a cell phone. I was sick, dope sick, and I bought a cell phone. I didn't buy dope. I bought a cell phone. It was $70-something, and then I took the remainder and bought dope because I needed to get well. And I took that cell phone and I called you, and you're the first call I made after I called my mom and let her know I got the phone. And I called you, and dude, was like, again, no hesitation, bro. Anybody that questions Richie Weber's motives, you need to call me, because he's a good dude, bro. There was not even you didn't even say to me, yo, don't fuck this up this time. Nothing. It was nothing. You had complete confidence in me, and you not questioning me knew that. I knew that. Without you telling me, I knew that. You know what I mean? And I love you for that, bro. And that's what I mean when I say people believed in me until I could believe in myself.
Yeah, dude, I have for a long time, man. I knew it. I knew that you were eventually going to get this, and I knew it wasn't like I was wasting opportunities, scholarship. I knew you were going to come out of this, and to see the change that you've made this time is just night and day difference. Like, I started to see glimpses of it before, right? Starting to see changes, but I'll let you tell it more so. But just how you carry yourself, your demeanor, your walk with God, it's completely different, and you can see that about Owen, and the effect that he's having on some of these guys in the rehab that he's at, and the rehab that he's working for now, is absolutely incredible. That's probably my favorite part of this entire thing, is that literally, somebody once helped me. I helped Owen. Now Owen's helping other people. And that's how we end this epidemic. That's how we turn this thing around, is one addict helping another addict. And if we continue to do that, we will put a stop to this eventually. We will save lives. We won't have 70,000 plus people dying each and every year. We'll actually make a dent in this thing. So, just seeing the change in him has been absolutely incredible. And I want you to tell people in your own words, what's different this time? What's different this time?
What's different is, man, I had been at bottom for a long, long time, and I had surrendered, I thought, but I wasn't willing to do what was suggested. And I keep my program out of the limelight because of anonymity. We don't, and that's another thing. It's attraction rather than promotion, and I don't have to let everybody know what kind of program I work, but I will tell you some things that have worked for me. Is I pray every day. When I wake up, I pray and I say, God, guide me, keep me sober today, and I pray for somebody that I'm, might not like so much. Maybe somebody that I have a resentment towards, and that's what helps me. It grounds me. In the morning, and then at night, I pray and I say, God, thank you for keeping me sober another day, and I just do everything different. Everything. My whole eating is different because I care about myself. I can look in the mirror and I like the guy looking back at me, man. I like that guy looking back at me, and it gets better every day. There's a lot of things I've done wrong in my life, and I got a lot of things to be ashamed of, and a lot of things that I might be mad at myself for still. But every day that I, go to my meetings, and the group of guys that I met in the program help me, and we're not alone in this thing, and we do this thing together, and that's what it's about. You know, I just, I wish I could help more people, and I know you do too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. And this is Owen. You see Owen today. I want you guys to see what Owen looked like during his active addiction. You'll see it right here on screen. You see these are some mugshots, some different pictures of him during his active addiction. And you can see the change. And Owen, I'll ask you right now, how much weight have you gained since you got clean this time?
I was, I don't know what my lowest weight was out there because I didn't have no scales to weigh myself on.
Well, you didn't have no scales under the bridge, bro?
No. Yeah, so, yeah, I slept on those canal banks and in tents and under bridges. That was my sleeping arrangements for the last 7 years straight, 10 years total. And I was 152 pounds when I got to detox here in California. And I'm now 214 pounds.
So you've gained I'm horrible at math, like 60 or 70 pounds?
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the recovery, the before and after stuff is just so incredible to me. It shows, it literally shows people having life breathed back into them. Like you look at you right now, you would never think you were an addict. You look like a normal person, you look like a dude that likes to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Just like me. You would never imagine that you looked like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. And one story I wanted to bring up too, going back to the abscess on your hand. Tell everybody why you got the abscess on your, how did you do drugs every day? What was your daily ritual, I guess, when you would wake up under the bridge? What would you do?
Well, I mean, when you're shooting any kind of drugs intravenously, you got to have water, cotton. You got to have access to water. You have to have cotton. You can use a cigarette filter most of the time. And I would use lake water, or I would sometimes get water off leaves, from the rain in South Florida. I would go into garbage cans and get water. And the thing about that shit is what happens is some water is not meant for your body after it gets bacteria in it. It's called water fever or cotton fever, and I want to talk about that because that's I have a powerful story about that stuff. I had shot some water. I've been using the same jug of water behind this convenience store for probably about 2 weeks straight without changing the water. And the sun had been beaten down on it, and some bacteria got in it, and I used the water to shoot my dope. And in Florida, we don't have tar heroin. We have mostly fentanyl and brown heroin, which you don't have to heat up. So I never heated dope. I don't think I've heated dope in 10 years. And when you heat it, it gets the bacteria out, but we don't usually do that, and so I'm not used to that. And I drawed it up and I shot it, and I got really, really sick. And cotton fever, water fever, there's a lot of people that's been through it. I remember my teeth would chatter so bad. I broke off teeth in the back of my jaw. Because my teeth would be shaking so bad, and my body would be hemorrhaging. And I remember I was standing out in the corner one day, and I was holding my sign, and the traffic was stopped in both lanes. And oh man, I get emotional talking about this one. So I'm standing there, and there's traffic coming behind me going this way, and there's traffic facing me, and I'm in the turning lane median, and this guy gets out of his truck, and I'm shaking, bro. It's the middle of summer, and I'm freezing, and he gets out and he hands me this jacket, and it's a mossy oak jacket, brand new, and he puts it over me, and man, I wore that jacket and I froze, and that's one instance, bro, that nice gestures that people did for me out there. And I remember the guy got pissed off because the traffic was stopped behind him. He got out and walked towards me and spit in my face because I had, held up traffic. And, I didn't even respond to it. I was just so degraded and so, at the time I was just so my spirit was gone, bro. Yeah, I didn't care anymore. So somebody just spitting in my face and, got back in his vehicle and cussed me out. I just looked down at the ground, bro, and just continued to do that. And then another time, it was a guy, I was freezing. I had that same jacket on. And this was a good experience. And this is how these are what people did for me out there, so this car is pulling up behind me and I'm shaking. I got cotton fever real bad, and middle of summer, and the guy gets out. I have no idea. He stopped traffic right there in the turn lane behind me, and he gets out of his car, and he taps me on the shoulder, and I look behind me, and he goes, "I've been there." He hands me $100 bill.
Wow.
Yeah, man, and at the time I needed money to get myself well, because when you have cotton fever or water fever, the only way to get out of it is to take a shit ton of Tylenol, drink lots of water, and get another shot of dope in you as quick as possible. That's the only way to get out of it. And a little bit of time, and that was amazing to me, to him say, "I've been there," and I knew exactly what he meant when he said that. That's all he said, and he got back in his car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing some of the random acts of kindness you probably see when you're out on the streets like that. You see some of the worst in people, like people spitting in your face. Yeah. You also see random strangers just like offer you like the coat off their back.
Yeah.
Offer you, help getting into rehab, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I found about the world is what you make it. There's some horrible people and things that occur in this world, right? Or there's some really beautiful, amazing things that happen in this world. And what you search out and what you envision and what you speak out into the world is exactly what you will get back. When I started focusing on the positive and speaking positive things into existence, that's what I've gotten back. And that's what I try and focus on today.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the last thing that I want to talk to you about, Owen, is tell me about the difficulty in the transition of from living homeless on the streets to living a life of recovery. Like we talked about before, you had to sleep on the floor of the detox at first, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, adjusting from the streets to California is a total culture shock. I hadn't had electricity the whole time I was out there, and no running water except for a little spigot that was about that high that I sometimes would shower with it, throwing it on my face. I'd steal a thing of soap. I'd bust the soap canister out in McDonald's bathroom if we were allowed in there, because most of them they're locked now. And I would shower like that, and then coming to California into this big expensive mansion, and beds and comfortable beds here at Wavelengths, and I couldn't get comfortable, bro. I just was not comfortable with this. I had to play a meditation. We have TVs in our rooms, and I had to play a meditation that was, I had to Google it on the meditation thing, YouTube, and I put on there, raindrops on tent meditation. And I would hear that rain hitting the tent, and that was about the only way I could sleep. And I couldn't sleep in the bed. I had to get out, and I made a pallet on the floor because it was hard, and that's what I was used to. I was used to a piece of cardboard on the concrete or under the bridge or, on the ground. I wasn't used to a bed.
Been a big adjustment for you then.
Oh yeah, big adjustment.
What other ways has it been an adjustment? Like just going from living on the streets to trying to live a normal life, I guess. I think we talked a little bit about the doctor appointments and stuff like that. That it's hard. I think a lot of people don't realize this. Like when you treat someone and you get them off drugs and alcohol, obviously, one, we have to help with their mental health issues. We have to help with their trauma that they've experienced. That's huge. But in addition to that, we have to teach them how to live again. Myself, when I got clean, I had no clue how to live. I didn't know how to get a job. I didn't know how to fill out job applications. I didn't know how to do anything for myself. I don't know if it was similar with you or what you experienced.
I just know I could make 1,000 reasons, and a lot of other people make 1,000 reasons to leave treatment, and that's your disease talking to you, telling you, hey, look, this ain't for you. Let's go back out there and get high. And I know those are excuses to me. I could find 1,000,000 reasons when I got here to leave treatment. I'm going to name them. I haven't had a relationship with my daughter. I need to be there for her. My dad's got cancer, myeloma, and I want to have a relationship before he passes. I need to leave treatment and go be with him. My mom just had 2 strokes. Let me leave treatment and go be with her. Relationships. There's 1,000,000 reasons why I could you know, that, and they were actually in my mind that I was battling when I got here, and I was like, you know, I can't actually do anything about those situations. I'm $80,000 behind in child support. I can't do shit about that. Today I can't. 120 days later, I can do something about it, and I have a job at Wavelengths, and I'm able to pay child support. I haven't made a payment yet because I haven't got paid yet, but I will be getting paid next Friday, and that stuff will be deducted out of my check, and that's what being responsible and you know, that's what I get to do. It's a gift, bro. I love it. It makes me feel responsible. I've grown up a lot here in 4 months, man. Yeah. Wavelengths is a great program.
No, it's been incredible to see your growth, and I know recently you went and actually visited with your daughter, right?
Yeah.
For the first time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that. What was that like?
Oh, so my daughter's going through a lot. She's 13 years old, and she's going through stuff that I went through when I was a kid. You know, divorce and the bad stepdad, and you know, he's sick, and I'm not placing blame on him, but maybe on the disease, you know. And so I went there, and we just connected. You know, I told her about what I went through when I was a kid, and how tough that was on me. You know, having the stepdad that abused my mom, and I had to witness that, and I was able to relate to her, and I could tell, you know, her eyes would, you know, tear up a little bit, and I'm able to have a relationship with my daughter, man, and not just be saying that, you know, hey, I'm your dad, you're my daughter, and having this stone cold relationship. That's not what being a dad's about. It's about connecting and finding something on that level, and that's what being a dad's about, and I'm learning that, man. Every day I'm sober, I'm learning how to be a dad and how to be responsible.
Well, Owen, thank you again so much for taking the time to share your story with us today. I'm so fucking proud of you, dude. It's incredible,
Appreciate
man.
it.
It's incredible.
Absolutely. All I can say really is if you're still out there, you know, using and abusing drugs, man, you know, just stay alive, man, somehow, some way, bro. If you were the one that came in and relapsed a lot, and you've been to a lot of treatment centers, I'm no different than you. All I can really tell you is, you know, stay with the hope, and just keep, you know, keep faith, man. And keep some hope in your life, man, because things will get better. The longer you stay alive, you know. Be careful. It's a dirty game out there right now. It's a real dirty game. I really hope this reaches some people that can use this video and give them a little bit of hope. You know, Richie and Derek are doing good things, man.